Every firearms instructor in America will tell you that sub-MOA accuracy under $800 is a compromise waiting to reveal itself. The action will shift, the barrel will warp, the trigger will stack. That is the conventional wisdom, and it has kept American hunters overpaying for legacy brand names for 30 years. What the major firearms publications have been slow to report is that a group of manufacturers operating out of Anatolia have systematically dismantled that assumption, one precision-machined component at a time. These rifles are not budget alternatives wearing a discount sticker. They are engineered instruments built on high-grade chromoly steel, match-grade rifling geometry, and mechanical innovations that most domestic manufacturers reserve for their custom shop. And the #1 rifle on this list runs a barrel technology that reduces copper fouling by design, not by chemistry. It was not developed by a legacy American brand. It was not imported from Germany or Austria. The price will stop you cold. Let's get into it. Number 5. Kral Arms KR308. Most hunters have never heard of Kral Arms. That is the first mistake. Before Kral chambered a single centerfire cartridge, the company spent decades engineering pre-charged pneumatic air rifles, platforms where absolute trigger control, minimal lock time, and harmonic barrel balance are not optional features, but survival requirements. A PCP air rifle that breaks its sear unevenly at 2000 psi does not hit its target. Kral learned precision the hard way, and that discipline transferred directly into their centerfire program. Here is what most people miss about this rifle. The KR308 does not offer a simple pull-weight adjustment via a set screw like every other production hunting rifle in this class. It offers 3 independent axes of trigger adjustment. The shooter controls pull weight from 1.7 pounds up to 4.4 pounds. The trigger shoe itself travels linearly on a track, adjusting up to 10 millimeters forward or rearward to match hand size or glove thickness. Sear engagement is independently adjustable from 0 to 2 millimeters. That level of biomechanical customization exists on match rifles, costing 3 times the price. The KR308 chambers. The 308 Winchester cartridge. Through a 21.9-inch, 4-groove barrel with a 1 in 10-inch twist rate. Optimized for 150 grain to 175 grain hunting projectiles. The rifle weighs 7.3 pounds unloaded and runs a 5+1 capacity detachable magazine. Overall length holds at 42.9 inches. The genuine trade-off is footprint. The KR308 uses a proprietary action, meaning aftermarket chassis and trigger options are limited compared to Remington 700 pattern rifles. For hunters who never intend to modify their platform, that drawback is irrelevant. For those who want an upgrade path, it matters. This rifle belongs to the meticulous shooter who prioritizes a biomechanically perfect trigger interface above all else and hunts with traditional Turkish walnut and blued steel out of principle. Coming in at number 4 is a rifle from a maker that built its global reputation on elegant shotguns and then quietly engineered a bolt action whose barrel solves a problem most hunters do not know they have until a follow-up shot exposes it. Number 4. Huglu OVIS G2. The Huglu Hunting Firearms Cooperative built its global reputation on some of the finest over and under shotguns in the world. Then the cooperative looked at the bolt-action market and decided to do something most competitors had not bothered to solve: thermal stability. Here is the engineering decision that changed everything about this rifle. A hunting barrel heats rapidly during a firing string. As the steel expands unevenly from that heat, the point of impact shifts. Most hunters discover this problem when a follow-up shot on a moving deer prints 6 inches from the first. Huglu addressed it directly by heavily fluting the barrel on the OVIS G2. Fluting removes material from the outer contour, reducing weight while radically increasing the surface area exposed to ambient air. The barrel dissipates heat faster between shots, maintaining point of impact consistency through the duration of a hunt. At this price point, no competing Turkish rifle offers fluted barrels as a standard feature. The OVIS G2 is built on the Remington 700 footprint, granting instant access to the largest bolt-action aftermarket ecosystem in American history. The action is milled to tight tolerances, and the rifle backs that precision with a strict sub-MOA accuracy guarantee, compliant with both CIP and SAAMI chamber specifications. Barrel lengths run 20 inches and 22 inches for hunting variants, chambered in .308 Winchester and 6.5 Creedmoor. The factory trigger breaks between 2.8 and 3.3 pounds, a weight that registers cleanly through insulated hunting gloves without sacrificing safety. The two-position safety deserves its own sentence. Huglu engineered it to disengage silently. No metallic click. In a silent hardwood stand, where a mature whitetail is feeding at 30 yards, that detail is not a minor convenience. It is the difference between a clean shot and a spooked animal. The hunting variant in hand-selected Turkish walnut weighs exactly 6.6 pounds unloaded. The long-range chassis variant in aluminum folding stock climbs to 12.1 pounds to absorb Magnum-level recoil. Both ship with AICS-compatible 3-round and 5-round magazines. The trade-off is that the 90-degree bolt throw, while familiar to traditional hunters, is slower to cycle than the 60-degree systems on the Turqua and the Monza. In a single-shot deer hunting scenario, that distinction rarely matters. In a follow-up shot on running game, it does. The OVIS G2 belongs to the hunter who demands thermal barrel stability, silent operation in tight timber, and the freedom to rebuild the platform entirely using American aftermarket components. Coming in at number 3 is a rifle that solves a problem no other gun on this list addresses. One that every backcountry hunter has quietly feared and never wanted to admit. What happens when the rifle goes into the creek? Number 3. Istanbul Silah Monza. Istanbul Silah was founded in 2003 by Errol Kurt inside an 18,000 square meter ISO 9001 certified facility. From the first day of production, the company built every component in-house, every barrel, every action, every stock. That vertical integration produced something rare in the Turkish market. A rifle engineered as a complete system, rather than an assembly of sourced parts. Here is what most people miss about the Monza. Rotate the firing pin cap. The entire bolt assembly strips down to individual components in seconds. No punch, no wrench, no gunsmithing tool of any kind. For the backcountry deer hunter who covers high elevation terrain in freezing rain and river crossings, that capability is not a novelty feature. It is a field survival mechanism. Mud packed into a firing pin channel will cause a misfire on the shot of a lifetime. The Monza eliminates that vulnerability entirely. No other rifle on this list offers tool-free bolt disassembly. The action features a 2-lug bolt with a 60-degree throw, providing fast, low-profile cycling and maximum scope clearance for low-mounted optics. Barrel options run 20 inches, 22 inches, and 24 inches depending on the variant, with 4-groove rifling at a 1 in 10-inch twist for the .308 Winchester and a 1 in 8-inch twist for the 6.5 Creedmoor. The trigger adjusts from 2.2 pounds up to 5.3 pounds, with independent tuning for both creep and over travel. The synthetic stock variant with a 20-inch barrel weighs 7.5 pounds unloaded. The Picatinny rail on the Monza receiver deserves its own sentence. Istanbul Silah installed a 20 MOA elevation bias directly into the rail. That built-in cant biases the scope downward, preserving the full internal elevation range of the erector tube for extended shots across open terrain. A flat rail exhausts that elevation reserve quickly. The Monza does not. Feeding runs through a 4+1 capacity detachable magazine. The Monza X stock system allows a single screw swap between a traditional sporter buttstock and a tactical variant, a modularity level that rivals purpose-built chassis rifles at significantly higher price points. The trade-off is footprint. Like the KR308, the Monza uses a proprietary action. Remington 700 aftermarket components do not transfer here. Hunters who want external chassis or drop-in trigger options will find the ecosystem limited compared to the Spandau and the Huglu. The Monza belongs to the wilderness hunter who covers unforgiving terrain, demands instant field maintenance capability, and requires a precision optic platform that preserves every degree of elevation adjustment the scope offers. Coming in at number 2 is a rifle so mechanically sound that an American manufacturer examined the action, decided it could not build one better at the price, and put its own name on it. Number 2. ATA Arms Turqua. Savage Arms does not license foreign actions out of charity. The company licenses them out of respect. When Savage examined the ATA Arms Turqua action and began importing it as the Stevens 334, the American firearms industry received a clear signal. This Turkish bolt gun was not a curiosity. It was a benchmark. Here is the engineering decision that changed everything about this platform. Most production hunting rifles manage recoil through pillar bedding, a pair of aluminum cylinders that prevent the stock from compressing under fire. Pillar bedding is adequate. The Turqua is not interested in adequate. ATA engineered a flat-bottomed receiver measuring 1.175 inches wide and 9 inches long, longer than a standard Remington 700 long action. A flat-bottom receiver cannot roll or torque under recoil the way a cylindrical receiver can. Coupled to that geometry is a half-inch thick integral recoil lug, 1.095 inches wide, that beds directly into a heavy steel plate embedded inside the stock. The result is a receiver and stock that function as a single cohesive unit. That level of mechanical lockup belongs on bench rest rifles. ATA put it on a deer rifle that retails under $600. The bolt mechanism runs 3 lugs, producing a 60-degree throw that clears the ocular bell of a full-sized hunting scope without requiring the hunter to break cheek weld. The 3-stage safety behind the bolt handle allows the shooter to lock the trigger while keeping the bolt fully operational, permitting safe extraction of a live chambered round without enabling the firearm to fire. A red cocked action indicator protrudes from the bolt shroud and reads by touch in complete darkness. Button-rifled, free-floating barrels are available in 20-inch and 24-inch configurations, chambered in .308 Winchester, 6.5 Creedmoor, and .243 Winchester. The 2-stage adjustable trigger refines from 1.76 pounds up to 3.52 pounds, delivering a crisp, stackless break. 3-round and 5-round single-stack polymer magazines are included. Weight runs from 7.2 pounds to 8.25 pounds depending on stock configuration. Compared to the Monza at 7.5 pounds, the Turqua carries more mass. That additional weight is not a design flaw. It is a direct product of the oversized receiver and the steel bedding plate. the exact components responsible for the manufacturer's 3-shot sub-MOA accuracy guarantee. The genuine trade-off is portability. The Turqua is not a mountain rifle. Hunters covering high-elevation backcountry on foot for multiple days will feel the extra mass by mid-afternoon on day 2. For hunters working ground blinds, elevated stands, or agricultural field edges where the rifle rides in a vehicle until shooting light, that trade-off is completely irrelevant. The Turqua belongs to the hunter who demands rigid, bench-rest-level action geometry, sub-MOA consistency in any weather, and a platform validated by an American manufacturer willing to stake its own reputation on the design. Number 1. Spandau Arms RL. You have waited long enough. Here it is, imported to the United States by Knoxville-based SDS Arms. The Spandau Arms RL entered the American market without fanfare, without a legacy brand name, and without the decades of consumer trust that Remington and Winchester spent generations building. What it brought instead was a 20-inch barrel running a rifling geometry that the American hunting market had largely reserved for precision long-range competition rifles. That decision alone separates the RL from every other Turkish deer rifle in 2026. Here is what most people miss about this rifle. Traditional barrel rifling cuts lands and grooves at 90-degree opposing angles. That sharp geometry swedges the copper jacket of the projectile as it travels the bore, deforming the bullet, degrading its ballistic coefficient, and depositing copper fouling into the grooves with every shot. The Spandau RL runs 5R rifling, 5 asymmetrical, canted lands that do not sit directly opposite each other. That geometry gently squeezes the projectile without deforming the jacket, preserving the bullet's aerodynamic profile from muzzle to target. The ballistic coefficient the ammunition manufacturer engineered into that projectile arrives at the deer intact. That is why the RL shoots reliably sub-MOA with factory Hornady Superformance ammunition, and why the bore cleans in a fraction of the time required by a traditionally grooved barrel of identical length. No other rifle on this list offers 5R rifling. The action is built on the exact Remington 700 short-action footprint, the most widely supported bolt-action architecture in American firearms history. The moment a hunter purchases the Spandau RL, every aftermarket chassis, every drop-in trigger, every precision scope base designed for the 700 pattern transfers directly. That aftermarket access is something the Monza and the KR308 cannot offer. Where those rifles lock the hunter into a proprietary ecosystem, the RL opens into a decades-deep universe of American upgrade components. The 20-inch 5R rifled barrel is threaded 5/8 by 24 at the muzzle and ships standard with both a thread protector and a muzzle brake, ready for suppressor mounting the moment the hunter clears the paperwork. The receiver is drilled and tapped and arrives from the factory with a zero-cant Picatinny rail already installed. Ammunition feeds from an AICS pattern detachable magazine with 3-round and 5-round magazines included, offering the same flawless feeding geometry used by precision competition shooters worldwide. Chambered in .308 Winchester with a 1 in 10-inch twist rate, the push-feed action features an oversized bolt handle engineered for positive manipulation with heavy winter gloves during late-season hunts. The Turkish walnut stock carries a 13.97-inch length of pull and a radiused recoil pad heel that prevents the stock from snagging on heavy clothing during a fast mount. The rifle weighs 6.8 pounds unloaded. That is half a pound lighter than the Turqua at its lightest configuration and nearly 3/4 of a pound lighter than the Monza in synthetic trim. The one genuine trade-off is the bolt throw. The RL runs a 90-degree lift, the same as the Huglu OVIS G2, placing it behind the 60-degree systems of the Turqua and the Monza for raw cycling speed. In a deliberate, ethical single-shot deer hunting context, that distinction rarely costs a hunter anything. In a fast follow-up scenario on running game, experienced shooters will notice it. The RL retails at an MSRP of $799. Here is the final verdict. The Spandau Arms RL earns the top position on this list because it delivers two features that no other Turkish deer rifle in 2026 combines in a single platform. 5R rifling that protects ballistic coefficient integrity from chamber to target, and a Remington 700 footprint that transforms the rifle into a permanently upgradable precision system the moment it leaves the box. The Turqua owns the rigidity category. The Monza owns the field maintenance category. The RL owns the category that matters most to a deer hunter, standing 200 yards from a mature buck in fading light. Consistent, repeatable, sub-MOA accuracy with factory ammunition at a price that redefines what this market is supposed to cost. 5 Turkish rifles. 5 different answers to the same question every deer hunter eventually asks. How much precision do I actually need? And how much should I actually pay for it? The answer in 2026 is less than you think, and more than the legacy brands want to admit. Turkish manufacturers have not built discount alternatives to American and European rifles. They have built precision instruments that expose exactly what domestic companies have been charging a premium for, and exactly what that premium was never actually delivering. So here is the question for the comments. Which of these 5 rifles would you carry into the woods on opening day? And what is the one feature that made your decision? Drop it below. The answer will tell everyone in this community exactly what kind of hunter you are. If your jurisdiction restricts suppressor ownership or NFA-regulated items, consult your local and state laws before pursuing any suppressor-ready configuration discussed in this video. Subscribe if you want firearms breakdowns built on verified specs and documented history, not marketing copy.